welcome to the second annual Black Books Matter Fest for Mahogany Books here in National Harbor.
Yes, we are so blessed that you decided, wherever you are in the world, you decided to spend a little bit of time with us as we report live. So again, my name is Nakara. I run But Make It Books. You can find us on Instagram at But Make It Books Pod, as well as myself, the Bookish Hottie.
And I am Nikisha Elise Williams, the producer and host of Black and Published podcast. You can find us online on Instagram and Threads at Black and Published, BLK and Published. And you can find me personally at Nikisha_Elise on Instagram and Threads. How are you doing today, sis?
Woo, I'm blessed. I'm highly favored. I love being in your presence.
Amen. Same. Likewise. How are you doing? What you got going on?
What you got going on? How are you doing? I have to ask you. You asked me, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here at the festival. I'm glad to be here with you, live hosting. We're going to talk to some amazing authors, talk about what we've got going on, being a part of the Mahogany Books Podcast Network, what you're watching us on, all of the things. And of course, I'm excited about my forthcoming debut novel, The Seven Daughters of Dupree.
And make sure y'all pre-order it because those pre-order sales matter.
Absolutely. So before we get into specific projects, how did you get connected with the Mahogany Books Podcast Network?
So that's actually a very funny story. So I've been a huge fan of Mahogany Books. I love what Derek and Ramonda have built and what they continue to build, not only here in the DMV, but nationwide. And I reached out to them. I saw the podcast network and I said, I would love to be a part of y'all network. And then Derek was like, actually, funny story. I've been watching you and I've been seeing what you have been building and I would love to put you on. And so here I am. How about you?
So my story is a little different. I've been doing Black and Published for the last 4.5, almost 5 years. Our first season launched in 2021. So we are season 5 in 2025. And those are actually our books.
Yeah, those are ours.
I know we're loud. We're trying to troubleshoot over here. Yeah, those are our books. But thank you.
Yeah.
No worries.
No worries.
So yeah, back to the story about how I got on Mahogany Published, Mahogany Books Podcast Network. I've been doing Black and Published since 2021, and I'm an independent solo producer. I used to work in television, so I launched a podcast with my own know-how and producing skill set. And I got a DM for Derek like sometime last year when season 4 was on hiatus. And he was like, hey, he introduced himself. Like, I didn't know who Mahogany Books was.
Right.
And was like,
they need to stop doing that.
And was like, would you be interested in joining the network? And I was like, well, sure, let's see what you're talking about. So we had a couple of calls and he listened to a few episodes and here I am.
I love that. They need to stop doing that. Like, I know they are very humble people, but
everybody knows about this store.
Right.
Everybody knows about this
My
store.
family in Texas knows about Mahogany, okay? They talk about it all the time. All the time. So let's talk about Black and Published.
Okay.
What made you start it? What gave you the inspiration? I know you're a writer, you're everything, you're multi-hyphenate in your own right. But
Thank
what
you.
made you want to focus on, just Black authors in general?
So like it really started out of my own writing journey. I started writing and publishing in 2017 when I had my debut indie published novel, For Women. And even though I worked in television, the way that I was able to get a lot of media attention and interviews was because I used my television contacts, the anchors that I knew in different markets and local television all across the country. And I would say, hey, can I come on your morning show, your morning talk show, and, talk about my book? And here's the news angle to it. Because working in news, I always knew how to have a news angle for my novels and pitch the stories. And so that was me doing my own independent marketing and publicity. And after I left television in 2019, I wanted to create a space for authors like me, not just indie authors, but specifically Black authors, to come and have a place to talk about their books and to talk about the craft of writing, what it means to write, what it means to publish, demystifying that process and giving them the platform that I didn't see available. Right. And so that's really what started was my own journey, and then wanting to provide space for other Black authors to do the same.
I really love that. demystifying the whole industry is super scary because you're like, how do you get an agent after I got this idea? How do I get to where I need to go? How do I take care of myself as a creative in a very chaotic world?
And so, like, we talk about all that with all the authors who come on, those who are indie and don't have agents, those who are traditionally publishing on their 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th book and do have agents in a long story career and a deep backlist. I've told my own journey throughout the course of the 5 seasons of the podcast, from being indie and then getting my first traditional book deal with University Press, to soon I'll be telling the story of the 7 Daughters of Dupree and, you know, finally getting the agent and getting the big Trad 5 book deal, and like really breaking it down and letting people know that there is no one way to do this writing thing. There's no one way to publish. There's no one path, no one journey, no one route. Everybody's journey is different, and that's been like the best part of doing Black and Published.
I love that. I really do.
So what about you? How did you get started with Book Make It Books?
So me and my co-creator, Brandon Butts, shout out Brandon, we really wanted to think about books as healing, because books, especially during COVID, really healed me. I was always an avid reader as a child. Obviously, when you go to college, that the love of reading starts to dwindle and die. And me and Brandon really wanted to focus on books, but healing. So we're bookishly healing through life. So how do we bring in books of the center of that? So how do we explore ambition, but make it books? How do we explore plants,
but make it books? Got it. I got it.
You get it. So we've been having authors, others in the bookish space, book influencers, book creators, book owners, all those things, and we bring them onto the pod to talk. So we've had Mateo Ashkapur, because Black Buck was one of my favorites.
I had Mateo on as well. That book
changed me in a lot of different ways, because it's 3 different ways that you can read Black Buck. 3 different ways, I always say.
The title alone.
That's what I mean. It was just like, it's like a double entendre, but it might be triple. And so in that book in particular, we explored ambition, but in the lens of healing. So we're always trying to bookishly heal through life. How can we expound upon that and really make it something that we're all healing from? So that's really the whole premise of it. We try to bring everybody into the space to just heal.
So what has been your most memorable book that you've read for the podcast so far?
Woo, that's hard. That is really hard. I would have to say it would have to be Deisha Philia. Yeah.
Secret Shout out to Deisha, lady. My girl Deisha from Jacksonville down in Miami. Hey, Deisha.
Hey, girl. That probably was the most monumental book that I think we read, only because it was able to touch my father-in-law, because he is an avid reader, but he is also a church guy. Like, he is very much a deacon in the church. He also preaches. He does all the things. And I think that's the most influential, because he read it too. And he said, wow, I have so many questions for her. And it really healed him in a different way. And I was actually shocked that he felt so enamored by it, because I was nervous giving him this book.
Yeah, because when you read that first story, when you read Eula and you get to that last 2 paragraphs, it's a wrap. You either gonna read the rest of the book, or you gonna put it down and be like, this is not for me.
This is not for me. So it was really good to interconnect those pieces together. And then also just talking to her and hearing her story. And I cannot wait for her next book about the First Ladies.
The True Confessions of First Lady Freeman is coming out in September of 2026 from Mariner Books. So be on the lookout for Deisha Philia's debut novel, because Church Ladies was a short story collection. Now she's coming with a novel.
How about you? What was the most influential book you think you read?
The book that I can't get out of my mind that lives rent free, there are 2. It would be Tracy Rose Payton's Night Wherever We Go, and Honoré Fanon Jeffers' The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. Woo. But when I read Night Wherever We Go by Tracy Rose Payton, I read it and I was like, I retire from writing. Because, like, if I'm not doing this on the page, then I don't need to be doing it. Like,
what am I doing?
I know. It's like, if it's not this, I should retire. That book, it's a historical fiction novel set in Texas, and it really explores, she says it explores desire, but it looks at, what does consent look like in the period of enslavement? what do different levels of freedom look like in the period of enslavement, and how do you go after those things. It also looks at what does reproductive freedom look like from the point of view of like 7 enslaved women who are told by their owner that they're going to be bred, and then a stockman comes in to breed them. But that's only just one portion of the novel, and how they form a sisterhood on the plantation, claim and hold autonomy over their bodies, even though they don't even own themselves technically in the time period. When I finished that book, I was like, if it's not this, I don't want it.
If I don't want it.
That book shook me. And then I also would say The Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois. I know the book is 800 pages. The first 400, it's breezy. It's given. It's like, I can read it. I can do this. I'm here. I'm in the backstory. I'm in the present day. I'm there. And then you get to like 401, and it changes. It shifts a little bit. The story of, there's 3 sisters in the book. And one of the sisters, her name is Lydia. There's a line in that book about Lydia being on a bus, and it gutted me. I fell out. I was not prepared. That book, that scene, that line lives rent free in my mind.
Woo. That's definitely on my list. It's between those are my November and December books. So my November book is Love Songs of W.E.B. Du Bois, and my December book is Ours by Philip Williams. Those are on my 2, where I got my stew and I got my pot roast, and I'm sitting in my house with my nice, like, warm little blanket, and I'm gonna be flipping through and be reading so I can go cry in peace, because I know both of them are gonna make me cry, and I'm ready to cry. I'm ready to have tears flow down my face. So what brought you that, like, really champion Black books? Because there's a lot of books we can read out here, but what made you center on Black books?
So the podcast is Black and Published, but I do try to include other people of color. But the focus is on Black, just because that's what I am. That's what I come from. That's what I was doing. That's what I was trying to do as an independent Black author. And I knew how difficult it was for Black authors to make it through the industry. Like, I believe when I started the very first season, the New York Times had done a study, and it showed that since like the 1950s, Black authors only represented like 6% of published authors in the industry. So 94% of published authors are white. That's problematic AF. Like, that's just really problematic. And so I was like, there are Black authors out here doing this, maybe not at the trad 5 level, but they're out here and they're working, and their stories deserve to be told. They deserve to be heard, and they deserve to have a place to come talk about it. Also, out of my own self-published experience, I remember when my last self-published novel, Beyond Bourbon Street, came out in 2020. I'm a journalist by trade. So I was freelancing and writing and doing all these different things. I had written an essay for the Washington Post to gain traction around the book. I had gotten an interview at a local New Orleans outlet, and I remember getting an email from the marketing side of the New York Times book review asking me, saying, "Hey, I saw a review of your book Beyond Bourbon Street. Would you like to buy an ad in our magazine?" No, I don't want to buy an ad. I want you to review the book, but the New York Times is not going to review an indie published book, even though their marketing team is going to come to ask me to pay for an advertisement in the magazine. I found that wild.
That is insane.
Right. So it's like, I'm good enough to pay you. Like, I'm good enough for you to ask me for an ad. But you won't go to the other side of the house and try to get editorial coverage.
Correct.
Because I'm not a trad 5 author, because I don't have a book deal. I don't have an agent, and I'm indie, and that stigma exists. So me creating Black and Published was about saying F the stigma between indie or traditionally published, because however you go to get your book out, it takes work, it takes effort, it takes grind, it also takes craft, dedication, and commitment.
It does.
And so that's why I started there with Black authors. But then I realized it's difficult for Black authors, but it's difficult for every other ethnicity. It's difficult for Latinx authors. It's difficult for Native Indigenous authors. I started season 5 in January, because we're in these terrible Trump times, with 2 Palestinian poets. Because they are people of color, and their people are being oppressed. And they're facing genocide in Gaza. And I was like, we're starting the season like this.
Right.
And so it's a way for me to say it's about Black people. It's about the globe, but it's really about the global majority of people of color around the world.
Listen, because we ain't free until all of us is free.
Amen. Come on, Fannie Lou Hamer.
So that's kind of how I started too. You know, I just kept looking at authors that I admired first. And then that's how it really started. And then I started looking at why weren't some people getting the shine, who gets traditionally published, who gets the money. And then I started notice, okay, yeah, just because you're traditionally published doesn't mean you get the same budget.
Same. True.
And that started pissing me off. And so I was like, okay, so how can I bring other authors that I admire, indie, trad, whomever, bring them into the book space, and then Black book influencers as well, making sure they're Black influencers. I like to look at Black book influencers because these white influencers are getting ducat after ducat, 100K here, 100K there. And then it's very small who gets this piece of the pie. And so I was like, let's just break it all down. Let's talk about what you've been able to get, why you don't think you're getting that, and let's just like figure out how to figure all those things out and put those pieces together. So that's really what I've been doing at But Make It Books. And then the healing piece of it too, because as much as we want the recognition because we deserve it, because we do, how can we take care of ourselves as we're trying to get that recognition and that shine? And so that's a big piece of what I try to do at But Make It Books, because we're all trying to figure it out together in this very chaotic world in the Trump times. In the Trump times.
These terrible Trump times.
Or as Jasmine Crockett calls him, to me Hitler, which I will never stop laughing at. To me, Hitler is insane, and I cannot stop.
But also
laughing. Accurate.
Like, we're living through authoritarianism and fascism, and praying that we have an election in 2028.
Yes. It's insane. And so the funny thing is, when I've been talking to a few of my book influencer friends, especially when we're talking about authors to get spaces. So we saw with S.A. Cosby how they played in his face in Virginia. They only had 12 seats out. Or no, it was Georgia. Excuse me, it was Georgia. 12 seats.
And he was by himself.
It was 200 people who showed up. And they had 12 seats. And they were like, he's like, yeah, I'm going to think y'all going to want some more seats. They're like, no. It'll be fine with 12. He's like, okay. It's like, I'm going to show you rather than I can just tell you. And I think that's been a lot of my journey in this space as well.
And that's a common refrain that I've heard from authors, from Black authors specifically, that every book they have to prove themselves over and over and over again. I know you read Harlem Rhapsody by Victoria Christopher Murray. Woo. She's going to be here today at the Black Books Matter Fest on a panel with Zolan Perkins Valdez and Siddiqa Johnson at 1:00. And so when I interviewed Victoria for her book Pride in the Seven Deadly Sins series that she had the spinoff of Lifetime movies with a couple of years ago. And then I interviewed her again this year for Harlem Rhapsody. And what we talked about during our conversation is that even though she has like 24 titles to her name, she's been a New York Times bestseller with her books with her co-author Marie Benedict with The Personal Librarian and the First Ladies. When she went back to do her first historical fiction novel herself, centered on Jessie Fawcett and Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, and really talking about that, they told her that she had to prove herself again, even though her white co-author did not have to.
No, not
and
at
it's
all.
like every time Black authors come out, it's like the very first time. It's the same thing that Taraji P. Henson talked about with acting. Like every time she does a project, it's like she has to start all over from the bottom. Every time a Black author comes out with a new project, it's like they have to start all over from the bottom, because for some reason the industry does not recognize that they are more than a trend, but that they will have longevity and staying power in their career.
And I think that is so, I don't know why I'm always shocked every time I hear these stories, but even here in S.A. Cosby, he talked about it too when he came to Charm City Books in Baltimore. He was touching on how when he first started, they gave him like a very low advance, like maybe like $7,000 for his first book, if that. But he said, hey, that's fine, because now I don't have to, I'm making money off of it now because
he's earned all the way out.
Versus like he'll have another white author, they give $1 million advance and they barely touching that. And so he's like, that's just the funny. It's like the rub of it all. He's like, now he's like getting into 6-figure checks, but it's insane because Obama's featured him. He's getting a Netflix deal on all the Sinners Bleed, and it's like, how many more times do we have to constantly prove ourselves, improve ourselves, improve ourselves? I mean, like, we're behind us if you see it. This is all in line for Kennedy Ryan. Kennedy Ryan's backlist is insane.
She is that girl.
She is that girl, but I'm sure she has to keep proving herself.
And she said that she's had to. Like, every time behind the scenes, she's always fighting to make sure that people recognize and respect not just, you know, her own personal pull as the author, but like have deep respect for her readers who come out and show up and will stand in a line like this that's wrapping around the block and around the building for hours for a signature and a hug.
Yes, she gives the best hugs. The hugs are quite top tier hugs. Where do you think allies can show up in this space? Because I think, like, I look at like Reese Witherspoon, for example. She put House of Eve as a Reese Witherspoon book pick, and obviously Sadiqa has sold out. I believe there's a few other authors, black
Tia Williams was a Reese Witherspoon book pick for 7 Days in June.
So where do you think allyship can show up in this way that's authentic and not as like a moment, if that
so
makes
Reese Witherspoon is not necessarily about allyship. Reese Witherspoon is a Hollywood actress with a very large platform, and so she's considered like one of those kingmakers of books in the echelon with Oprah and Reese. So it'd be like Oprah and the GMA's book club, and then the Jenna Bush's book club on the Today Show, and Reese Witherspoon. They're all in that same echelon. Like, if your publicist and your team, and I'm learning this from personal experience as we speak, if you can get your book onto one of their radars and one of their lists, then your book is almost guaranteed to do well. That's a different level than just allyship. Allyship would be like white book influencers or even white authors sharing their space and inviting black authors into
like
the conversation
Allie
with them.
Hazelwood.
Right. Like the same. Like, it would be like seeing Nora Roberts and Kennedy Ryan on a panel together. Like, if you think about the queens of romance, and if you separate them by race, unfortunately,
it like would Emily be Henry,
right? Emily Henry and a Kennedy Ryan on a panel together would be bananas. But then it would also open Kennedy up to another set of readers, who may not automatically know about her work just because there are black faces on her cover.
No, I get
because that's also a fight within the industry,
right? What do you think is holding your unabashed opinion? Because I'm obviously not in. I'm a writer. I am trying to get there on your level. No, you are there.
Thank you. I receive it.
What do you think? And I hate telling white people what they should or should not do because they should automatically know. But you already gave some tips and tricks on how to be more of a better ally. What more could they do in the publishing space when it comes to agents, and also just in the publishing houses, and also just in the influencer space to help black authorship explode in a real way?
And thinking about the industry, it is very white. Like, we're not gonna joke about that. My agent is white. My editor is white. I had a choice when I was finding my editor. I had a choice between a black man and a white woman. For me, a black woman would have been ideal because of what I was writing about. And so it wasn't like it was the lesser of two evils. I really do love my editor. But, you know, you're in an industry that doesn't automatically look like you as a black author, that may not speak the same language that you speak, that doesn't code switch the way that you do, that doesn't conjugate verbs or does the inverse of whatever language craft style that you're doing, that may not be familiar to them. The colloquialisms among each other may not be familiar to them. So in terms of the industry, you need, from when you set out to find an agent, you need to find an agent who represents work like yours, who you think will take care of your work, who will champion your voice and will not try to dilute what it is that you're saying. And the same thing goes forward when you get your editor. Your agent is your champion. Your agent has to talk about your work the way that you talk about your work when you're not in the room, right? And so no matter what the race of your team is, they need to be a champion of you. They need to be a champion of your voice, and they need to not try to dilute what it is you're saying. On down to the line editor and the copy editor, where if you have jargon or slang or anything like that, where they're asking you whether you want to change this to the more standard way of speaking, and then you can say set that, which is a no, or yes, you don't mind changing it. You just need champions. So like that's more about allyship. That's about understanding. That's about community. It's about listening. And I think overall, whether you're in the industry, an influencer, a writer, or outside of it, especially if you're a non-melanated person, it's about listening to these other stories, because the whole reason that we're reading books is to learn about lives unlike our own.
Yes, it brings in that empathy,
yes,
that understanding,
compassion, yes,
which is very much lacking in today's world.
It's a kind of cultural competency that comes through the pages of a book.
So if you were giving advice to someone who was like looking to get into this space, whether it is to be an agent or an author themselves, especially being an author and having to explain, because sometimes you do, unfortunately, because of the space that you're in, what advice would you give them?
If you find yourself in an explaining position, you have to stand 10 toes down on your work, which means that you have to know your work inside and out. Like as I was going through my editing process with the 7 Daughters of Dupree, my editor would ask me questions, but I would always have an answer for her. And if there was something that was unclear, I clarified it for her. And if there was something that she was asking me to do, like I had to do 3 rounds of edits with my editor before the novel was accepted by the publisher. And the 3rd round of edits had a lot more hands in it than the first 2 rounds. Just with from the marketing side, and even the head of the publisher read the novel and was like, we have more edits. And she gave me suggestions, and I think I followed not maybe like 2 of them. But I had an idea of where to go with the work to keep it authentic to the story that I was telling, to the characters that I had created, but also to try to make the story the best that it can be, because that's what everybody wants.
Yes.
Everybody wants the story to be the best that it can be, so that when it comes out in a book, readers will enjoy it. Yes. Everybody's working on the same team. So it's being able to stand 10 toes down on what you're doing, accept criticism, receive feedback, and then use that to make the book the best that it can be. As far as outside of the industry, as not an author, if you're looking to get into other avenues as an agent or even as an editor, it's really about having a love for books. Like you have to really, really love this. Like reading books is one of the last forms of entertainment that you cannot do while you do something else. Ooh, I mean, yes, you can listen to an audiobook and like clean the kitchen, but you can't read a book or listen to an audiobook and be playing on your phone, because you're going to miss something. It requires all 5 of your senses. It requires all of your faculties to become engrossed and lost in the story. And so when you want to enter this industry and become an agent or editor, you have to love books. And especially in a time where attention spans are so fractured, we're living in this attention economy where everybody's fighting for eyeballs. You have to realize that the pressure of capitalism is going to be there to just produce like robots, which makes AI such a scary thing in an industry where it takes 4 years or more to get a project from signing to publication. So you have to really love it, and you have to really be a champion of it, and you have to always understand your why every day, because it will be hard and you will want to quit, and you got to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, Death of an Author definitely touched on what AI is gonna look like.
I have that book. It's on my TBR. I do have it.
That book wrecked me. It essentially said we all getting dumb.
Did she lie?
No, not one lie was told. And how robots essentially, they are like, we can't we miss the original storytellers because I can only take what you give me. And I think sometimes people forget that about AI. It only does what the human allows it to do.
It's being trained on works already in existence.
Right.
Like the nonfiction book that I wrote that I came out in 2022 that talks about the history and the lineage and legacy of the Mardi Gras Indians of New Orleans, which it was immediately fed to AI. Like you can look it up and see all the books by your favorite authors that have been trained, have been fed to train generative AI, so then that they can begin to write and to think
yes
like people.
You're right. But creativity only comes from the universe and the human mind.
Exactly.
So trying to act as if this person is.
It comes from experience.
Yeah.
And reading a book that's already published does not give AI the experience that the human had to write it.
Exactly. Which is literally all the book talks about. It's like going through the experience and how you cannot literally think you have the experience of a person because I'm a robot. I can only do so much. I'm limited in what I can give you and limited in what I can do. And although you try to make me feel, I'm still limited in the feelings that I can feel, which has been, everybody should just read Death of an Author. I think everybody has their own feelings about how it ended, but I love when a book is open-ended.
It's one of those. It doesn't wrap it in a bow.
It does it can go in a couple different directions. You can think about where it's going, but it's not, I don't want to spoil it. So you think you know where it's ended, but you can think about something else the way it's ended. Like you don't know if it ended the way you think it ended. It's like if you ever read Sky Full of Elephants, it's kind of
by Sibo Campbell. No, I have not yet. I keep seeing it.
Yes, that's another one that's like you think it ended, but it really didn't.
Okay.
Yeah. There is a question I wrote down. I was lying out.
Okay.
I was like, ooh, I want to. So yeah, that's the thing. So we're podcast hosts.
Okay.
But we're also readers.
Yes.
Reviewers, literary advocates, all the things. How do you juggle all of these different, and you're a writer, how do you juggle all these different facets of your life and a mom and all the things? How do you juggle all this and still keep that authentic? Well, we're always authentic because we're who we are, but how do you keep it all together?
It's hard. I think one of the things that helps me is that because I do have a 9-to-5 day job, I work for a social justice nonprofit, but that job is fully remote. And when I began my job, I was already a podcast host. I was already an author. They knew I was writing a book. They knew what my goals were. They knew that I was a mom. And so everything that I was before I started that position only helps them as an organization and gives me the flexibility I need to do everything else that I do. When I'm writing, I usually write very early in the morning, or sometimes I write late in the evening whenever I have free time. I schedule my podcast interviews during the day when I don't have work obligations. And so it's really about balancing the time for me. And everything has to happen between 9 a.m. and 3:15 Eastern. Because when my children get out of school, now we're on their time.
Yes.
Like if I have a work, even if I have a work meeting after 3:15, you're on my children's time. So if they're in the background, so be it. If we're in the car, because I'm just picked them up from school, so be it. If they come in the room where I'm on Zoom and they ask me for a snack, so be it. You are on their time.
I love that.
Right? And I don't make an apology for that. I don't make an apology or feel shame because I'm a mother. Yes, I'm a mother. I'm a single mother. I have 2 kids. I have obligations. And they're going to get what they need, but you're also going to get what you need. I'm very dedicated. I'm very ambitious. I'm very disciplined. And so I try to balance all of what I do also with some intentional rest and some intentional breaks. It's not working out for me this year because I've got a lot going on with the upcoming release and trying to make sure that the podcast is on track for season 6. So like I'm close to submissions technically, but I'm still reading. I'm still doing interviews. I'm still producing so that when I get ready to do my book tour next year, the audience that I've built and cultivated is not left behind either. And so it's really about being strategic in what it is that you do and what it is that you want to accomplish. At least it is for me. How do you do it?
Ooh, I mean, I'm going to take that piece you said about not being unapologetic because I was like, you don't make apologies for it. I need to learn that. So I have a beautiful planner that I got from Golden Coil, which keeps me pretty much on track.
Love a calendar.
Listen, love a calendar. Because a calendar, if it ain't on a calendar, it don't exist.
It's not getting done.
But it took me a while to figure it all out because my job is so weird. My full-time job is in campaigns. So when I'm on the campaign trail, it's rough. So my schedule is all over the place. But shout out to a good therapist.
Amen.
So after 7 p.m., I'm done. Like if I don't have book club, I'm done. Like I don't care anymore. I cannot care. I have to give my time to my family, my fiance, my friends, all of those things. I've also done this whole thing where I put my phone on do not disturb and personal time, where it's my personal time. I give myself also on Sundays. Sometimes I turn off my phone on Sundays and I'm completely off the radar. Like if you need me, my fiance is there, you can reach me. There is a way to reach me, I'm sure. But sometimes you just have to turn off your phone. So I do that like twice a month where I'm completely off my phone and I'm just in the moment. No GPS, no nothing. I'm just driving around. I'm rocking and rolling. And then also I try to record on set days. So like Mondays and Saturday mornings are usually when I record. So Monday afternoons and the evenings are when I record, or Saturday mornings or afternoons I try to record. And so that has helped me a whole lot. And then also sometimes I just have creative mornings too on my Tuesdays and Thursdays where I'll wake up at like between 7 to 9 and it's just me being creative, whatever that is. Maybe it's me making graphics in Canva, or it's me writing for my newsletter, or me just writing, period. And just really break up that time and just be intentional with my time. Because I think a lot of the time I wasn't intentional or respectful of my time. I gave everybody else my time, but I wasn't respecting me and myself. I was the worst person. I would say no to myself all the time, but say yes to everybody else. How does that make sense?
No, I get it. Like I don't work on Sundays for nobody.
Yes.
Not even for me.
Yes.
I do not work on Sundays, not even for myself.
Me too. And people used to laugh at me because I'm like, why are you calling me on Sunday? It's the off year. I say, if it's not August of the on year when there's an election year, I don't need to be working. I give you my time all the other times. I don't need to give you my time right now.
Mhm.
I give my time to campaigns, the American people. A lot of times, I'm not going to do it this time.
Yes.
I'm not going to do it. I refuse. So I love that you say Sundays is your time.
It's my time. And then especially like when I have my children on like the weekends, because I'm divorced. And so like with our custody agreement, if I have my children on the weekends, you're really on their time. So we are outside.
Yes. Parks,
whatever. Zoo, beach, somewhere,
museum,
the skate park, somewhere. We are outside.
And that's period. How have you juggled like just the healing portion of it all? Because you said that you're a mom, you're divorced, you're also a writer, and so you're a creative, so you're sensitive about your ish. So how do you juggle all the like the emotion and the healing portion of it and taking care of you?
It all comes out on the page,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always fiction. I have no desire to write a memoir, even though it may be something that could exist and that I could do. I don't necessarily desire to do that. I recently wrote an essay that I've sent to my team to help kind of support 7 daughters. And when I wrote it, I knew exactly what portions of myself I was going to give to that essay and that honesty, because now I'm not hiding behind a character. I'm not hiding behind a storyline or a plot that I've created to subvert and to obfuscate what's really going on with me. So writing has always been a place of reflection, but fiction has been a way for me to hide while also being authentic, while giving voice to the truth of the emotion, but not necessarily the situation behind it, because everybody just needs to know my business.
That is fair. Oh, so I am the opposite in my writing. I am doing what they call it auto fiction.
Okay.
So that's one of the books I'm working on right now, and then I'm writing a series of essays about my life, especially my mother-daughter relationship, and that's always interesting because I used to want to hide behind the page, but I realized just for me, if one piece of my story can heal somebody, I think that's what I was meant to do.
Yeah.
And it's scary as hell because not everybody's going to see the way you see it, right? And you're being very, very vulnerable, which is hard. But I think I'm a Scorpio.
Okay.
So, we love to get into the dark.
I know. I've heard.
Yes, we love to get into the dark. So I love to, it's like the snake eating itself. The
Ouroboros, yes.
Yes, I love to break down to heal. because I think it will heal somebody else, even if I might cry through it all. So it's been taking me a while. I wrote some essays before that have like been on some blogs, um, and like Blavity, others, and I'm getting there. It's been scary, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna finish it, but I'm gonna take my time with it though.
Well, then I think there's also an importance in recognizing that not all writing needs to be public.
Oh,
Not
that's
all
fair.
writing needs to be for someone else's consumption.
Yes.
Sometimes there are some things that may need to be just for you.
Yes.
Or if you do share, you share it with a trusted group of friends, or if it's just for your newsletter. Everything doesn't need to be a book.
Mhm.
And so it's about recognizing within yourself what it is that you're comfortable sharing, what it is that you're comfortable saying out loud, like saying the quiet part out loud. Are you really ready to do that? Or are you just doing it because you're trying to get on? Are you just doing it because you got a deadline, or there's an expectation?
Yeah.
There, everything doesn't have to be for consumption.
Ooh, ooh. I think that's important to say too, because in a world that's always in a state of consumption and consuming, sometimes you feel like the more and more you put out there, the more and more you let the audience into who you are. But I think exposing just pieces of yourself gives folks a little bit about you without giving it away, especially what you're writing about and your personal, the essay that accompanied your book. You're giving people a little bit by just writing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so let's switch over because now we're about to move over to what is the books you've read this year have been. And I know we talked about this a little bit about what's your favorite books. I have a long list.
I saw your list and I was like, girl.
I know. I told myself I was gonna only read like 25 books. That's a lie. I'm getting to 50. I'm at 40 something already. That's because I've just been running away to the fiction to read. So
I do the same. Like, for those who are unfamiliar with Black and Published, I read every book, and every season is about 32 to 36 episodes. So that's at least, I'm reading at least 35 books a year.
Yes.
Generally more, because there are a lot of times where I'll read a book and then the author doesn't even have time, but I was still enriched by the story anyway. This year, definitely read Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan, who's here today
Maverick
at the Black
is
Book.
a man, baby. Maverick. I'm like, man. Oh.
Where do they make this model?
Listen,
Like, where's that coming off the assembly line? How do I get in line? Right, like, how do I get an assembly line for that one? Because, oh man. So yeah, I loved Can't Get Enough. I loved also on your list, and we talked about it earlier, Harlem Rhapsody by Victoria Christopher Murray.
I want to fight W.E.B. Du Bois so bad.
There was so much commotion about that man. It was so much slander.
And I was like, have y'all seen him?
Not only have you seen him, it's just like, you a whole civil rights icon, founder of the NAACP, and you were out here a whole F-boy.
Listen, Frederick Douglass is another one.
Now that's a book I would read.
Douglass is Women. You should. That was a really good one, a historical fiction. Douglass is Women. It talks about his when he was married and then his mistress that he had.
Yeah, because he was color struck. He was color struck.
Didn't even marry the mistress. Anyway,
on a whole tangent. Another one that I really love this year. It's an author. Her name is Jacqueline Crook. She's based in the UK. I was in London sometime last year hanging out, and I went into a bookstore because writer, and I saw this book. The person I was with was like, "Oh, you should get this. This looks good." And so I got it and I read it. That was a book. It's set in like 70s, 80s underground dub reggae scene in the UK with a lot of Jamaican migrants there.
Ooh.
And the parallel between then and now was so stark. Like, it was a book that I had to walk away from for a couple of weeks, but I kept going back to it because the story was that layered. The book is called Fire Rush. I loved that read this year. Like, when I read it, I immediately emailed the woman. I think I DM'd her on Instagram, like, oh my God, I just finished your book. I love this so much. Would you come talk to me on a podcast? And she said yes. So Fire Rush was another good one that I really loved. Shanora Williams's Beautiful Broken Love was another book that I really loved. That's a romance novel. Tara Roberts, who is a National Geographic explorer in residence, she had her memoir come out called Written in the Waters that was really, really beautiful and talks about not only her own family history, but how she got into what she currently does now, which is documenting the dives of Diving with a Purpose of the slave shipwrecks all around the world. And so the book is like, it's part memoir, part travelogue.
A Hulu or some series.
They actually had she had a podcast with National Geographic, and then there's a Hulu documentary of when they brought some of the descendants home from the Clotilda slave ship from Africatown in Alabama to Dahomey, and did those ceremonies there. But she's doing some more work in that aspect. But her book, Written in the Waters, was really, really, really good. And those are some of the reads that I love. There's so many that I don't remember them all. Oh, shout out to Kiese Lehman and Alexis Franklin, who had the picture book City Summer, Country Summer. Love that book.
That was cute.
Love that book.
See, I can't wait I've been just giving that book out to my friends' kids.
Like, I love what picture book authors are doing, where even though it's a picture book and you might think it's for children, the story is so layered and so deep for parents that you will get something out of it by reading it yourself and reading it to your children, which is always great for me as a mom. I even had my son read it and he enjoyed it, so that was good. Along the same lines, some YA. I'd like to shout out Mahogany L. Brown, whose YA novel A Bird in the Air Means We Can Still Breathe highlighted the COVID-19 pandemic in New York from the point of view of young 17 to like 20-year-old people and everything that they went through in those early days of COVID in March of 2020. Rough. And then another YA romance novelist, Ariel Vincent, Under the Neon Lights. I know that's on your TBR list.
Yes, it is on my TBR.
That book, oh my God, it's lots of Black girl magic, roller skating culture, but then also this patina of gentrification encroaching in on the neighborhood roller skating rink and what these teenagers are going to do to, reclaim their block.
Yeah.
Love that book. And it's a YA romance too. So
listen, I love a YA romance.
It's got the swoon in there. So it was everything.
Oh man, my list is long too. You already know.
I know your list is long.
Listen, so Delgado series by Jacquel J. That's an indie author.
Okay.
She is everything. Okay. Listen, if you love urban fiction, urban romance, this book is for you. The block is hot, period. I'm still a Capone girly. Everybody likes Capadonna, but I'm a Capone girly. Great Man by Kyra Davis, Lori, which is a Great Gatsby retelling.
Yes.
It is amazing. It's set in Sugar Hill, LA. And before Sugar Hill got the whole highway through it. And it's really beautiful. Finished it, loved it. Sing Me to Sleep, which is a duology, a romantasy by Gabby Burton. So it's new adult, but it was amazing. It's about a siren who's an assassin, and I love fantasy, especially Black fantasy, because you're exploring deeper topics underlining all of this. So you have a Black girl, Black siren, who is trying to find her voice, which is also and hiding who she is, which can have parallels. So Black women today trying to find their voice and how beautiful they are and trying to hide her beauty and all those things. And so, Sky Full of Elephants by Sibo Campbell. How would it feel if white people did not exist? And that is a great book to explore. And then what you're also dealing with is a small town of people who still want to have whiteness. And so they live in it. And so you're dealing with all of that, and you're following a father who's trying to go be with his daughter who is biracial. And you're dealing, and he's formerly incarcerated. And now he's a professor at Howard University, and they're driving across country trying to heal their relationship, but also he's trying to heal himself and she's trying to explore who she is. And so that's a beautiful book. Good job, Sibo. Bones at the Crossroads by Ladarian Williams.
I have it. It's the sequel, the follow-up to Blood at the Root. Yes. I have Bones at the Crossroads at home on my nightstand.
Go into the HBCU magicalness. It's everything. It's the healing. It's the that's such a good book. Shout out to Ladarian. He did his big one. Our Vicious Oaths by N.A. Davenport, which is a romantasy, standalone romantasy, Black romantasy. You're dealing with high fae, friends to lovers, a lot of killing, a lot of good things, period. I read All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby, of course. Zeal is probably my top book.
I have that on my TBR as well.
By Morgan
Jerkins.
I still think about lines in this book. How now I'm about to cry because I'm thinking about the book. How the sun was out and it was a beautiful day, and we already know when the sun is out and it's a beautiful day, especially in historical fiction, where that's going to lead. And so it's a dual timeline track. You're dealing with COVID, but you're also dealing with the end of the beginning of the Civil War, and then the end of the Civil War, and like how it all comes together, and like this. It's just a beautiful book.
I recently bought that one, and so it's moving up. I keep hearing great things. And then I read her debut novel, Call Baby, a few years ago, and interviewed her for that, and loved that book so much. And so I'm looking forward to like diving into Zeal.
I can't wait for you to get into it. Text me after you're done. Oathbound by Tracy Dion, which is the trilogy of Legendborn.
Yes, yeah.
The Legendborn cycle. Oh, excuse me, it's not trilogy now. She's adding another book.
Okay.
It was supposed to be end at Oathbound. She's coming out with the next one. It talks about author, King Author table, all of that. It's beautiful. Isaac Song by Dr. Daniel Black.
Okay.
Which is the sequel to Don't Cry for Me.
Okay.
And that book is still on the top of my mind because it showed me how to be more gentle with my parents. Because this is also my parents' first time doing this too.
The book by Dr. Daniel Black that I loved was Perfect Peace.
I've heard about that one.
That I won't even spoil it, but that book was everything.
And then the last one, the last one is Black Boy Smile by D. Watkins.
Okay.
A Baltimore native. Shout out to Baltimore. It's a memoir in moments.
Oh.
So it talks about him being, as a young kid, him being in the drug game, and then him now being a father and a published author.
Okay.
And he also wrote for The Wire. And he's just an amazing author. That book, The Vulnerability, the way he made me cry. Just shout out to D, man. I love you, D. I think we're about to wrap it up.
Yes, between us and start getting to our first author. Our first author is Jason Reynolds, author of the YA romance 24 Seconds From Now, as well as we're trying to get some technical difficulties sorted out, trying to figure out what's coming up next.
Yes.
Who's the first one? Nicole Cuffey, the author of the novels Dances and Oath Sinners.
If you haven't gotten Oath Sinners, you better go into that. It smells like it's about to rain.
So I'm going to shift my seat so that
I'm going to get
down. Hey, Nicole. Well, I interviewed you for Dances a few years ago on Black and Published. How are you? Congratulations on the new one.
Thank you.
And the baby. Congrats.
Thank you.
My name's Zafara.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And look at your beautiful babies.
Thank you.
They're gorgeous.
Thank you.
Just drink some water real quick. Oh, did you sign into Facebook on there? Okay, cool.
Oh, we're ready to go?
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
All right.
You good?
Come on, act like you love me.
All right. So, Nicole, welcome to the Black Books Manifest. How are you enjoying yourself today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
So can you tell us about your latest work, Oath Sinners, and what inspired it?
So Oath Sinners is basically about a cult and a journalist who goes to investigate that cult out in the California Redwoods. And it was really actually inspired kind of incongruously by the Vietnam War, which is where the cult leader in the book gets his start. So lots of research into the Vietnam War, especially with Black soldiers fighting during the war, and just looking at what the injustices of that era might have done to somebody to create what this cult leader becomes.
Okay.
So both of your books, Oath Sinners and Dances, deals with a lot of complex topics and a lot of complex characters.
Yeah.
What draws you to these themes and to tell these stories?
I think first and foremost, I would say I'm a character-driven writer. So character is kind of always where I begin. I'm always looking for like backstory and trying to understand the psyche of these characters. And I think I just get inspired by real life stories. So like people's real struggles and people's real experiences, and sort of asking those what if questions and seeing where that leads me eventually.
I love that. I love that.
And so then in being a character driven writer and following where they lead you, what has been like the most unexpected piece of research that you've come across in writing these deeply researched novels, dances being about the classical ballet world, and now diving into cults?
Yeah, I mean, the cult research was really, really interesting and took me to some odd places for sure. Mostly because like more things than people think are cults. So, I mean, there's sort of like your Jonestowns, your Mansons, but then there's also like your other cults that are maybe more corporate based or more based in academia. Like there are all sorts of things that people can get an undue devotion to. And that was really what I was interested in looking at. So I found some really surprising things over the course of that research. For sure.
That's true. I never thought about that, the corporate piece and the things we give devotion to. So how did your approach to writing change between Old Sinners and dancing? Like what did you learn from your first book that influenced this one?
I think if anything, my revision process changed from one to the other. So with dances, my revision process took place over the course of like a couple years. And with O Sinners, I feel like I just developed that muscle a little bit more. So the revision process went a little faster.
I love that.
So then what are you working on now? You got any new projects cooking up, or are you taking a little break?
I took a little break actually last year.
She was like, I needed one.
I forced myself to. And then this year I was like, okay, I got to get back to writing. So I'm currently writing something new. And also there's another piece in the works for a release date in 2027 that I'm currently editing. So two things at once.
I love that. Okay, so reading recommendations. What recent book by a Black author has like captivated you? You're like, I can't put this down.
Oh, you know what? I really liked Sky Full of Elephants. Was a good one.
So you got to move it up the TBR.
I'm about to go in the store right now and grab Sky Full of Elephants.
Yeah,
read that one.
Shout out to you, Sibo. You're doing the big things, my brother.
And are there any emerging voices in literature that you think people should know more about?
I don't think this is an emerging author, but I don't hear enough people talking about Ayanna Mathis. Like, I think more people need to be reading her work. Her and Jessamine Ward, again, not really emerging, but I don't hear enough about either one of them. And I think people really should be reading their work. Really important stuff.
Let us ascend.
Yeah.
Yes. So where can the people find you? All the things we want to know. Where can we get more of your work?
You can mostly find me on Instagram, though. To be honest with you, I'm terrible at social media, but I'm there, So all of my upcoming events, all of my upcoming publications are in my link tree, which you can find on my Instagram.
And with your two novels, and you had a poetry collection before that, Body is Atlas, and all your work, what is it that you want readers to get from Nicole Cuffey when they come to a Nicole Cuffey project and a piece of literature?
I would hope that people just are able to immerse themselves in the language. Like that is the dream for me. I really I love the language. That's the medium for me. And I'm always really, really deliberate about words and how I'm putting them together and how I'm using them to craft a narrative. And my biggest inspiration is Toni Morrison, and she has that effect on me. When I read her work, I get immersed in her control of her language. So it would be the highest honor if readers had a similar experience with my work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by in our little cozy corner, as we like to call it, the Mahogany Book Cozy Corner. And you keep enjoying your day and keep mothering those beautiful children. They are gorgeous.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye. Let's get a picture. Can you get a picture of them? Yep. Sure enough, it is. Listen, it's okay. Thank you. Don't worry, I got you. Congratulations. Girl, you be writing them cult scenes. I be like, what the fuck is going on in this book? Have a good one. Yeah, I'm gonna get us all. Don't worry, because my social media person will kick my ass.
I need one of those
Oh, she's a Howard grad too. Let me know. She taking clients, so let me know.
because it is just me out here.
Listen, I understand.
I got a content calendar that I be trying to stick to.
Yeah, I can't stick to it. I got you, Bianca. Hold on 1 second. I'm about to pull it up.
Good. You want to go ahead and sit down, get
Yeah,
situated?
come on, sit.
Yeah,
Get
come on,
yourself
sit down. I'm Nikisha. Nice to meet you.
I'm Bianca Wise.
Nice to meet
Hey,
you.
girl. All right, I'm ready.
You ready?
Yes.
You want to jump in with this one?
Yeah, I can.
All right.
All right, welcome, y'all. We're gonna welcome Bianca. Thank you so much for stopping by. Also, she's also a Baltimore girly like me.
Yes,
so,
ma'am.
period. Baltimore is in the building.
It is.
So let's start with your book, The Playbook of a Mindset Snob, Mastering Your Mindset for Success. What does being a mindset snob actually mean?
Thank you so much for that question. I mean, obviously, we are just very particular about our mindset. We don't allow a lot of outside noise and people's other limiting perceptions of the world affect us. But SNOB also stands for seeking new opportunities boldly. And that's a transformative way of life as we're on this journey to success.
I love that. I love that.
And so your book draws from your personal story and approach to life. Can you share what pivotal moment or experience made you realize the power of mindset transformation?
It's when I promoted to the rank of lieutenant in Baltimore County Fire Department. So to take that back a little bit, my very first day of recruit school, I noticed that there was nobody in authority or leadership that looked like me. There was no women, there was no black women. So I took a sticky note and I wrote on that sticky note that I was going to promote to the rank of lieutenant within 10 years of my career. And I carried that sticky note with me throughout my career. It was in my locker. So every day I came to work, I had to open up my locker and see this vision. And you just take the journey, you start to put things in place and things start to show up for you. And I ended up getting promoted at 9.5 years. And that's when I was like, oh, it's some real magic too when you actually move with intention, be decisive, and execute on the goals that
Amen.
Yeah.
I love that. So, in your book, you outline seek new opportunities, boldly principles. Can you walk us through one of those principles and give us a practical example of how someone could apply it today?
Absolutely. So the book, I call it a playbook because it's very short. And my perspective is that in life we have overcomplicated stuff that just does not need to be complicated.
Yeah, I agree.
So the book talks about 9 pillars that we should implement every day. One is self-belief and confidence. One is having faith. If you're not a believer, you ain't going nowhere. And a lot of people claim that they have faith until it's time to take the step. Yep. So you have to be a believer. You have to exercise gratitude. You have to exercise focus on yourself in order to do that inner work to keep evolving and transforming. And that's where the mind of my damn business component comes from. And sitting in solitude, getting one with yourself, getting comfortable with your energy and the person that you are, so you know what your non-negotiables are on your journey. That's it. Having vision, and really just showing up as that person that you actually see, the highest version of yourself.
Visualizing who you're going to be.
Exactly.
So your book positions itself as a manual to guide your every step in life. What's one piece of advice from your playbook that you think every listener should implement this week, like today?
Look, y'all, just take the step. Will Smith has a quote that says, "What's on the other side of fear?" How many people has actually gotten hurt from taking the step, And so I think the biggest pillar for me in the book is exercising gratitude. So I had to get to a point in my own journey where I had to stop being so resistant around the stuff that was showing up that I particularly didn't like, and just had to get still and say, okay, what is this supposed to teach me? in order for me to keep transforming and evolving to learn the lesson. Because a lot of times we stuck because the lesson keeps showing up.
Come on
And
now.
we ain't learning nothing from what we supposed to be learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say definitely expressing gratitude. And that's something that you can just do real easy. People don't even have to know that you're doing it. Like I'm sitting here right now, just like I am so grateful for this podcast and Mahogany Books and the owners and all the people that are here, the vibes, the energy. You can do it in your car. You can do it before you go to sleep. You can do it when you wake up in the morning. When you are like receiving negative thoughts and things that ain't really aligning, just stop and say, I'm grateful for the cup of coffee that I have, or the baby that's smiling. Like just little simple things.
Yes. You also have a podcast called Minding My Damn Business and a journal, period.
Like the shirt.
Yeah. With the same theme. How do those different formats allow you to reach people in ways your book might not?
Yeah, so the book really is for anybody who is on a journey to expand and transform. Now, Minding My Damn Business is a platform specifically for entrepreneurs. I help them go from stuck and self-sabotaging to clarity and confidence. And so my conversations are with people who are also on a successful journey, but really talk about how they were able to push through and get to where they are. Minding My Damn Business is set on a framework of what I call your first aid kit. And so A stands for having awareness, being intentional, being decisive, and executing.
And so for aspiring Black authors, especially those considering independent publishing like you did, what's one key piece of advice you'd give them about getting their message out into the world?
Everybody has a story, and there are people that need to hear it. Please do not ever diminish your story. There is, because if you're going through a certain situation, or if life is showing up for you in a certain way, there are millions of other people who are doing the same, and they're seeking mentors. They're seeking tangible, experiences where they can hear, oh, I absolutely resonate with that. Like, this is my person. This is my community. This is my tribe. Put it out there no matter what. Do not diminish your story.
I love that. Where can the people find you?
Girl, I'm all over the place. So they can find me on Instagram at The Mindset Snob. You can also visit my website at biancawise.com. And you can follow the podcast. We are streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. If you go and download the Alive Podcast Network, you'll be able to watch us. And I'm super excited about that. But we're also audio as well. So we're across all streaming platforms for podcasts.
Well, thank you for coming
Thank
by
you
a little
so
cozy
much.
corner.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask you to take a picture again. Don't get comfortable. You're the photographer. Oh, excuse me. Oh. Yes, okay. I guess Kennedy's coming over here. She's sitting right there. Oh. Thank you. I know, right? Thank you. All right, and then there we go. Oh, let's get our book. Hold up, man.
That was yours.
Okay.
Don't you worry.
You work first.
Let's
Okay.
see how much you work first.
Whatever y'all want to do. What's up? How you doing? Cool.
You're gonna make some signs for us first.
No problem. Let me. You got Sharpie?
I got that book.
All right. Who is this for?
Actually, right here.
Fire.
Here he is.
Is it Nicara?
Yeah.
That's nice.
I can. Can't wait to talk about it. So even if we turn into an escort
Oh, I've never seen you in real life.
I know.
in IRL.
Pleasure. Nikisha, why you ain't lead off with that? Nikisha, Nikesha, right? Nikisha, you live here? Where you live at? You up top? You in Florida?
I came up this way.
That's dope. All right, I'm ready. Now I'm really ready. Yeah, I got you. No worries. It's all good. It might be something I don't know. Yeah.
You see, Jason already got fans ready for him, right?
I'm ready. I'm so ready for this.
All right, Mr. Reynolds.
All right.
All right. So you've been everywhere, prolific, if one will say. You got 20 seconds from now, and then you also have Soundtrack, which is an original audiobook. So what's driving this creative momentum right now?
That's such a good question. And I wish I had a good answer. I think, you know what it is, to be honest with you? I've worked like this since I was like 14.
Okay.
For
So
some
the hustle's
reason,
been in you.
Yeah, I'm some of this is fear.
Okay.
Some of this is like some sort of insecurity around, like I live, my life has changed the trajectory of my family. And my life has created space for the youngins in my family to be like, oh, you know, maybe we could do this. We could be artists, or we could be entrepreneurs, or whatever it is that they might want to do. And so when you're the person who does that in your family, it comes at a cost. And part of that cost is the fear of it disappearing. And so there's a part of me that is driven by an insatiable creativity. Like I was a bohemian kid. Like I was one of those kids.
Yeah.
So some of that's just personality. And another part of me is driven by a particular kind of anxiety that a lot of Black people have, especially if you're fortunate enough for something that you wanted to happen.
Yeah.
And that's the reality of it.
Well, that's a good answer.
So then in putting all those big feelings out there, and then you put all those feelings also into your characters and into your stories, what is driving you? Like, let's say in 24 seconds from now, in putting the feelings of first love and all of those things that come with it onto the page, so that other youngsters and YA readers can understand that they're not alone.
Because we ain't talking about it. And we ain't talking about it at this age. At big ages, we ain't talking about it, right? It's like where we're sitting right now, we get to watch Kennedy Ryan, right? We're sitting, for the people listening, we're sitting directly across from Kennedy Ryan, who's about to sign 1,000 books at this festival. 99.9% of the people in that line are Black women, which is an amazing thing, right? And what my question always is that how come those same Kennedy Ryan books are also being read in prisons by Black men? And why can't those same Black men read those books free without being incarcerated? Why aren't there more Black men in this line reading about the romantic lives of their counterparts and their sisters and their friends and their mamas? And furthermore, why don't we also have romantic stories where we aren't gangsters, or where we aren't reformed, or where we're just regular guys looking for love and trying to figure out how to engage with our sexual selves in a healthier way? Because the truth is, there's a lot of us who are. The internet would say otherwise. The gender wars say otherwise. But this is like a strange thin slicing of who we are. The internet say a lot of things about us that we hopefully know aren't necessarily true. Like I'm not some nasty man. I'm not a monster. I'm not. Now, are those things in me? Sure. Right? I grew up here. Right. And when I say here, I mean in America. Right? And so, yes, there are things about me that have been embedded since I was young, and that have been protected since I was young, that I have to be cognizant and vigilant about undoing. That's a reality. I don't want to ever pretend like it's not there. Is misogyny in me? Of course it is. Right? And because I know it's there, I can be a little more careful about how it shows itself. That being said, that don't mean I don't deserve love or desire softness or tenderness or romance or care or safety. Like, that's all. And boys need to know that. And so I figure I give it to them young.
Woo. I feel like you're preaching right now.
It's
I
just
love
reality.
it. I love
We
it.
have to talk about these things.
No, because why do you think, and I've been trying to figure this out, why do you think romance from the Black male perspective isn't really shown in a lot of different ways? You touched on it a little bit, but what's the fear you think that's holding other men from reading books from Kennedy Ryan
or writing them?
or
I
writing them?
had a conversation with the author Damon Young
Oh,
3
yeah,
days
that's the bro.
ago
That's the bro.
About his anthology, but he was talking about his next project, and that he challenged me. He was like, name a black male writer who's writing about love and romance and sex for adults. And
Eric Jerome Dick.
I said Eric. That was exactly who I said. And Eric Jerome Dickey died 7 years ago.
Yes.
Like I had to go back in the archive and to someone who's now a late author. And so back to you, black man.
Right. Well, first let me say this. I put an asterisk on that and say it maybe not a lot in America, but I think when you look at what's my brother overseas, Caleb. He wrote Open Water. You know these books? Beautiful books about love. These love stories that are just beautifully written. He's a black man from London. He fired, right? And so like it is a thing. I think in this particular country, is it happening? I would say Damon's right. At least I haven't read them. I haven't found them. They're not getting the bump, right?
Right.
And the question as to why, I think it's a lot of things. One, I think it's important that we can't divorce ourselves from the context in which we live and how we were raised, and what we were taught is what we're supposed to do, right? It's like so many men feel that romance, or the way romance is talked about, as something that is feminine, which is a whole other conversation, by the way, that I will get me in trouble if I talk about, because I don't really. I think a lot of this stuff is poisonous.
It is poisonous.
Very much so.
You know, because everybody needs love. That ain't got nothing to do with femininity.
It's the easiest word to spell, but the hardest to find and to understand.
Because
sometimes.
it's more than a word; it's a verb. It's an action. It's an action.
It's a verb. And it requires, but it's the same thing. Look, a man will tell you that he's not romantic because it's a feminine trait. In the same way, he'd tell you that women aren't protectors, and we know that both of those things are false. Women are protective, and men are lovers.
Yes.
And cupcakes who want to be spooned.
Yes,
that is a fact.
They love to be little spoon.
Every man, I say it all the time. We want to be the little spoon. I got to be the big spoon in every other part of my life.
Right. Let me be the little spoon.
Just for a moment. Right. Just for a moment. And so I think it's a lot of just indoctrination and training and societal stuff. I think it's also, look, a lot of us are also taught this by. This is a complicated thing, but a lot of us, look, black men, so many of us are raised by our mothers. And I was taught how to be a man by my mother. So the good things about me came from her, and the bad.
Ooh.
So then exploring those complexities in 24 seconds from now, and everything that you've given, that you've worked on in your work, what other things are you looking to explore and what you're working on coming up?
I'm interested in it right now. I'm actually...
you don't want to say
Besides
it
your
out
coffee
loud.
company.
I see it. You don't want to say it out loud.
It's okay though, because I mean, I'm gonna deal with it when the book come out anyway. But I'm interested in Black grotesquerie, and I love to think about this because I think that Black people believe that we aren't grotesque only because we believe that grotesque means gross, and it doesn't. And what I'm interested in is the grotesquerie that is more leaning toward the ideas around absurdity. And how that absurdity in our culture is a direct response to the grotesquerie that has been done to us.
Ooh.
And so, for instance, to me, because one can be grotesque and beautiful, or grotesque and sophisticated. The zoot suit was grotesquerie and amazing. Yes. The church hat is grotesquerie and amazing. A mouthful of grills is grotesquerie, but is culturally amazing and beautiful for us. A neck full of gold chains, rings on every finger,
armful of tats.
Right? These are all things that are technically grotesque. These are symbols of grotesquerie that are rooted in our community in a way that I actually find to be beautiful and magical. And so, why is it that we can't have stories like Charlie in the Chocolate Factory and James and the Giant Peach, but about a little Black kid dealing with a particular kind of grotesquerie? Telling a little boy he can't cry is grotesquerie.
All right then.
All right now.
So this is what I'm sort of tinkering with at the moment.
So as you're exploring all the different works, what Black book right now that has been stuck with you this year that you're like, I'm recommending it to everybody?
That's a good question. It's been a terrible reading year. I'll say that.
It's okay.
Life has been crazy. What have I been reading that's been pulling me? I've been rereading a lot of stuff.
Okay. I love a reread.
I'm trying to figure out, to me, A Mercy is a masterpiece in a way that we won't really talk about.
Yeah.
As
Toni
a piece
Morrison.
of literature.
Yes.
Craft wise, I'm like,
nobody touching that.
I know we love Beloved. I know we love Sula. And I think they're all just I get it, right? Toni Morrison is not overrated, right? Cool. In terms of craft, though,
A Mercy.
A Mercy is the greatest magic trick in literature. It's so hard to do what she pulls off, or even attempts for that matter, in A Mercy. And I've been rereading that, trying to figure out what is the code.
You trying to unlock it?
You're
trying to unlock it?
Yeah, I've been reading a lot of that. And then what else have I mean, a lot of just old. You can back in the Henry Dumas and just trying to figure out what the OGs was doing. Because I think there's still a lot of gems there.
It is a lot.
And I think Sibo's joint was fire. Sky Full of Elephants.
Listen, we were just talking.
I gotta go get everyone keeps talking. I'm gonna go get it today. As soon as we wrap, I'm going to get Sky Full of Elephants.
Sky Full of Shout out to Sibo Campbell. I think Sibo's joint, just because at the time in which it came out, it was damn, bro, you taking a big swing.
Right.
The conceit of the book. What happens if all the white people walk into the water and die? And it's bro, to begin there and say, I'm gonna write a story about this. I just respect the courage.
Me too.
I respect
that
courage. That was a big swing, and it could crash and burn, and he takes good care of it.
He really did.
Well, thank you so much.
Read your joint.
You do. I have it right here.
I have it at the house. They done sent me 6 versions.
Are you serious?
I got an arc.
Now I'm embarrassed.
Don't be embarrassed. No, because you know why? Don't be embarrassed. One, because I got enough copies to give. I got enough copies to hold. But I also have heard such good things.
Thank you.
So I'm excited to see, because people talking about it you gotta pick yourself up.
I got it. $7 on Dupree, January 27, 2026. It's coming. I'm excited. Thank you.
So where can the people find you, and also your coffee company? Because I've been peeping.
It tastes.
I know.
Taste is delicious. You can find me at Jason Reynolds 83 on everything. JasonWritesBooks.com. My website. If people still use websites, get yourself a website, everybody. Don't be relying on social media. You don't own that. Get yourself a website. And tastecoffee.com. That's TAST. Taste Coffee Company. That shit is fire. And then also I got, I own a literary agency. So
congratulations. Yes.
We love that. A black man who do can.
How about it? We can be in every space.
Yes.
And we can do everything.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming by a little cozy corner at the Black Books Matter Fest, and we truly appreciate it.
You already know what you got to do, partner.
We'll take this picture.
Listen, you might have to get in the middle. You so depending on tall.
Right.
For our little bodies. You're getting the angle. Serious, right? But you did something beautiful with neon. Thank you. I love neon.
Where you been at? I ain't seen you in forever. We live in the same city. It's Lakeisha Jordan. See? I don't know why I don't know what was new. Exactly. And now she got this new book.
My brother's actually who made me mad that I brought my Emmy down. And I was like, I just had to let you know. But I'm fine.
Sometimes you got to let these things go.
Yeah, and that was exactly what I said.
That's how it goes. Y'all have a good one. I'm out of here.
Thank you. Keep writing those romance books. I'm ready for the golf.
I was talking to Kennedy. I'm like, she's like, we can talk about it. I don't know. We'll see.
No, it's not. We want it. But you got beautiful job in the yard. All right, cool. All right.
So we are back on the Mahogany Books Black Books Manifest live stream with the one and only Dolan Perkins Valdez. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Of historical fiction.
Yes, let's do it.
So you've been on a journey right now with Happy Land.
Yes.
What are the people saying about this latest release of yours? What have you been hearing since it's come out?
It's been all good. You know, we've been talking about people talking about creating their own compounds for their friends and family. We're talking about what it means to be in community with each other and why that's so needed right now. And that's really what I hoped. I hope that this would be a book that would remind people of why we need Black history, why we need to connect with each other in these troubling times, and what are the benefits of that, because the Kingdom people did it and they were successful.
You do something really interesting in your books. It always has either something we didn't know in historical fiction or a legal premise, from Take My Hand to Winch to now Happy Land. Where do you get your inspiration from to really nestle and dig deep into these stories? Because you're a researcher, okay? You're a researcher.
Thank you. That's the highest compliment somebody can give me, actually, because I consider myself a historian who writes books, you know? And so I take it very seriously. One of the things I've learned recently that I hadn't really put together was that I have to know a little bit more about the law than I thought I did, because whenever you're talking about the history of racial justice, you're also talking about the history of American jurisprudence. You're talking about all of the ways in which we were legally discriminated against. And I remember, like, when I was researching Happy Land, I got really upset. You know, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a professor, who's a law professor.
Yeah.
And I started, really getting emotional. And he said, Dolan, you have to remember it was legal. And so that's stunning, it's particularly when we view it through the lens of this time, when our court systems are letting us down, right? And when things such as discrimination are being legalized once again.
Right.
So I'm really, a little bit afraid of what's ahead in terms of what work remains to be done. But at the same time, I'm energized.
In terms of doing that research and learning more from Winch all the way to Happy Land, what has been like the most surprising thing that you have found that was legal that has happened in this history?
Well, I remember years ago realizing that most Confederate monuments were erected outside of courthouses, most of them. So they were not just monuments to the Confederacy, the way people would make you think. They were put there to intimidate. When you walked in that courtroom, you knew that, whose side justice would be on. And so I just remember realizing that and saying to myself, okay, this is not a gray area. This is actually pretty black and white, that Confederate monuments were erected as forms of racial terror, right? And I think the second thing, when I was researching Take My Hand, learning about the Relf sisters, when I learned how big a deal it was at that time, and yet it had been erased from the history books. Like, people in med school need to study that case. You shouldn't be an OBGYN in this country and you've never heard of the Relf sisters. That just doesn't make sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Also, we are dealing with people saying the resurgence, I feel like, and reemergence again and highlighting of historical fiction. What draws you so much to historical fiction as just a way of your storytelling and the way to explore Blackness within this country?
Because it has to be told, and I feel a duty. I feel like it's what my ancestors want me to do. I remember when I first started out, I thought, I'm not going to write all historical fiction because I don't want to be put in a box, And like recently, I was told by my agent in Los Angeles, but I've been told this for years, but they tell me this, and it always stings a little, like, historical books don't get translated into movies. So you're never going to get a movie deal until you write something contemporary. If I had $1 for every time somebody had told me that, y'all, I would be so rich. And I refuse. I don't care if not a single word of mine ever makes it to the screen. I refuse to change because I know what my mission is now, and I'm focused on that, and I'm intentional in that. And I hope one day when we look back on all of the books by all of my peers also that are being published, will say, the writers were doing what they were supposed to be doing.
I personally would like to see Happy Land on screen because I just want to see the relationship between Luella and the brothers. That's just me because it was so messy and delicious. Oh, we've already talked about this. It was messy and delicious, and I loved every minute of it. Okay. But you talked about your contemporaries who are also writing historical fiction. What have been some of the great historical fiction reads that you have been able to dive into so far that you've really loved?
Well, this year I really love People of Means by Nancy Johnson.
Yes!
That book is totally underrated. Everybody needs to go buy that book right now.
Okay.
I interviewed her. Her episode is coming out in August, and all I have to say is I don't like that man.
I know.
Don't like that man.
I know.
Sorry to that man. Well, actually,
No, not sorry to that man. I don't like that man.
I know.
When you read it, you're going to know.
Okay.
Call me.
Summer fight? Okay. That's fine.
But so well researched and really a call to action. I love books that have like a little bit of a call to action to them. And that one does because it asks us, like, who do you want to be? Like, what do you want your legacy to be? Is it going to be just to, I don't know, be a capitalist? Or are you also going to be a person of conscience? And I love that message in Nancy's book. So that's actually one of my favorites of the year.
Okay. What do you hope people take from any pieces of your work? I know each one has a different piece you want to take, but in general, what do you want people to take from your work?
I want people to think more carefully about this country. I don't think this country can heal until we make peace with or not even just make peace, recognize and acknowledge this country's original sin. I feel like the reason we keep seeing these cyclical moments in our trajectory as Americans is because we still have not had a sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? We still haven't had a recognition, right? A moment of just, we need to acknowledge that the ramifications of 400 years are not over.
Yes.
Right? We're still dealing with it. And so I hope that, what my work will do is make people just continue to reflect on this country's history so that we can heal. I am hopeful. I'm not a pessimistic person. I'm hopeful. But, sometimes you get a little discouraged.
Yeah.
And so with everything that you just said, how are you taking these moments since we are living through history and maybe incorporating them into what you may be working on next?
Yeah, I can't get too far ahead of myself because everything's changing so quickly.
Yes.
And I just, I try to just stay focused on my conscience and what's interesting me and hope that when I do finally get that book out, because, books take a long time, that, Nikisha, that it will resonate, and I'll just continue doing it until I can't do it anymore, y'all.
I love that. So I know Happy Land just came out.
Yes.
But are we working on anything that we can share?
I'm trying to. I'm back at my desk, packing away. So hopefully more on that soon.
All right. Well, thank you for coming over, for joining us. We really appreciate it. We know you got your panel coming up.
Yes.
And we're going to take this picture before we let you go. Okay. Thank you.
Let me move this right in here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing that.
Of course. Thank you. Actually, listen.
I know we have Lakita and then
Yes, and
I have no idea who's next. Okay.
So just speak into the mic.
Yeah.
Since we're...
Is that good?
All right. You
welcome,
wanna hold up
welcome,
your book?
welcome.
Yes.
Period. So thank you so much for stopping by today.
Thank you. This
So
is
give
a
us a-
beautiful event. Beautiful
Isn't it
event.
though? All this melanation. We love to see
Wonderful.
it. So give us just a little synopsis about your inspiration for your book, why you did it, all the things.
Excellent. So I'm a certified public accountant, meaning I count very well, but I also understand the economic impact that people of color have. Sadly, the book was written by 6 accountants and 1 attorney, and we came to write a love letter to entrepreneurial Black women. Black women are the fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in the country, but also we're the most likely to fail. And many times when we do fail, it has astronomical generational impact because we are the people who our nieces and nephews come to when they need things. So we support a whole multi-generation and multiple households many times. And so one of the stories from one of the authors, she owns she owns the largest Black-owned CPA firm in the city of Chicago. But she's getting her hair done. We're getting our grass cut. And when PPP came, we could not help our own people. You know why? They did not have any accounting. They did not have any books. They did everything under the table. PPP was a transference of wealth. I don't care who is in the White House. PPP was a transference of wealth, and many of us missed it because we did not have our business in order, because we operate under the table, because we're using Cash App. I'm going to say it. Cash App is not for businesses. You need what Walmart has. You got to be able to take debit cards, MasterCard, Visa. So we missed opportunities. And when you don't pay taxes, guess what? That's Social Security. If you're self-employed and you're not paying taxes, so we're heartbroken because we help the other people.
So you are doing the work to really educate Black entrepreneurs about not only how to continue their business, but to maintain it and to allow it to build generational wealth, not only for themselves, but for their progeny. What about doing this work inspires you the most to keep on going?
It is because I see the labor. First of all, we came here as a labor project. We came here as a commodity, making money for this country. We've always been in entrepreneurship. We just were on the other side of it. And I just see that this is our time, that the generational wealth, the generations before us have paved the way for us to prosper. The only way Mahogany is here, you know how I know they're here? That means they got to be registered. They got to be paying taxes. They got to be paying payroll. So you're not going to prosper thinking you're not going to do people right. It's a big thing with self entrepreneurs and hairdressers that kind of don't keep up. That you can't run a business that way. Right. You never work for yourself. Never. Nobody works for themselves. As a matter of fact, if you're an entrepreneur, you have more bosses. Every customer is a boss. Yeah. If you show up raggedy, not together, your stuff is not on time, you're going to lose your business. And I just want to break those mindsets that we have. We're also the number 1 consumers in this country, but we kind of lose some of that when we come over to the entrepreneurial side. You cannot just have a fabulous business that looks nice and prosper if you're not meeting the needs of your customers consistently. And that's my message to entrepreneurs. So I give it to a rough. You can tell. If you call me,
no, it's not rough. You give it to them straight. Yes. The truth and shame of the devil. Also, all of you together who collaborate on this, you guys call yourself the collective.
Yes.
Where did that stem from? How did you guys get to be?
So I think that we were looking for first of all, we came out of heartache because there were people that we cannot help. Because if you don't have no records, you've been doing things off the books, we cannot help. And so the first event that we did is we went to Bronner Brothers and we went to their conference and we talked to hairdressers or whatever. And so the ladies like, oh, y'all kind of like a collective. We're like, hey, we the collective. Because what? A Black lady named us, a hairdresser. And we operate separately. We have accounting firms and businesses, but wherever we can, we come together and we give this to all of us. So every client that signs with me has this book. But we need knowledgeable entrepreneurs who want to understand not just their craft, but the business behind business. You can have the same knowledge as Walmart and Target. We talking about boycotting. We ain't even got off the ground. You need the knowledge. We boycotting Target, but do you understand a profit and loss statement? Do you understand inventory? Do you know what it means to even boycott something? What does that mean? What does that mean? Have you ever looked at the financial statements of Target Corporation? Do you know what a financial statement looks like? I want to take us to the next level. Entrepreneurship is our way out. Entrepreneurship is, you can even be a I work for the federal government. I just recently retired, but I also ran an
Congratulations.
Thank you, girl. But I also ran a six-figure accounting firm on the side doing consulting work. There's multiple streams of income. We are hustlers. We've always been. And I just want that to have an impact in our community. Every author here today is an entrepreneur.
Yes, you are.
Every author is here. But I would ask you, do you have financial statements? Do you know the profit margin of your book? Do you pay yourself? You know what I mean? How many books do I need to sell today to pay myself for my time? Or are you just doing hobby type activities? I want us to elevate. And you don't have to go get an MBA for that. You don't have to go get a CPA. Just buy the Black Woman's Business Bible.
Amen.
And you will have the education for those foundational things. Yeah.
You talk about that you want Black entrepreneurs to level up. What does that next level look like?
That means one, being a registered business. One, that means having a business bank account that is separate from your personal bank account. You're not commingling. Accountants hate that because it's very hard to see what you do. Then you have financial statements. Every month you can run a statement and see what you sold, what sold well, what didn't do well, what you need to change, and you're making decisions based on the data that is given back to you. That's leveling up. Leveling up is not a G-Wagon.
For the people who say it's too expensive, or they just don't have the money for all of that, because we love to say that.
Answer.
What is the answer?
Your business expenses is none of your business. That's your customer's business.
Well, that's a whole word. Say it again.
Your business expenses is none of your business. That means you need to sell some. Walmart, you might see a light bulb break. They don't worry about that. They just know they got to sell 3 more XYZs to do that. That means you need to do the business to cover that expense. So you do have enough money to get your business license. But you got to know, if you're a hairdresser, how many heads does that equal? How many heads I need to do to pay rent? How many heads I needed to get my business license, to get my inventory? That is business. You got to break out of that 9-to-5 W-2 employee mindset. It's totally different. So so that means too, you also have to come up with a profit mix, which we teach you how to do that. So if you only sell popsicles, you can't quit your full-time job because that's not going to pay everything. So you might have to do popsicles and cut grass and keep your job part-time. You might have to do multiple streams of income. But just because you have a great idea, just because you build it, doesn't mean that people will come. It has to make sense. And your family should not suffer because of your dream. It should be supplemented. So maybe just like I ran the firm and worked full-time, I was working 3-4 jobs. I also teach. You have to do what you have to do to stay profitable. The whole thing is profitable. It should not be draining. I've seen people lose everything because they're chasing a dream that's never going to take care of itself. And it's hard as a Black accountants to see that. Because I know, I'm like, you can't pay me, but I see what you rolled up in.
Right.
I see the tracks in your head. You know what I mean? It's about what are you investing in. It doesn't mean we're not going to look glamorous, but everything is not a business expense. You have to invest in making generational wealth. And you have to have the knowledge to be able to go. So then you can go to the bank and get your $100,000 and build out your shop and get your inventory. But you can't do that if you think small and short-sighted. So that's really our collective message from the entire collective that we want to convey. That everyone has a business idea. Everyone can be wealthy. Everyone, multi-streams, but would you recognize it when it comes, or would you know how to treat it when it gets to you?
I love that. So where can the people find you?
Yes.
Find the collective, period.
So Ulika Kimber CPA is I'm Ulika Kimber CPA on everything. My book is in here. Also, we have QR codes for every one of the authors, so you can go straight to our pages. You can book us today. But on social media, that's where you'll find us. We're always there. We're always hustling. Always.
Well, thank you so much for stopping by the tent for the Black Books Matter Fest, and congratulations to you and the collective on the Black Women's Business Bible.
I want you to pause one moment and think about this event and look at all the dollars flowing around.
Yes.
That's our next generation. So thank you for having me here today.
Really
Anytime.
Thank you.
That's a good, I love that.
Yes.
I'm so glad this sun went down, child. Thank you. You done dropped dimes. Thank you. Listen, you don't spend. Oh, you gave me some. I was like, dang, hold on, wait a minute now. I had to give me some tips and tricks. Oh, don't worry, I will.
Pretty girl county. Come on.
Hey, girl. Are your parents here?
No. Did I tell you that acting up in Essence Fest?
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Lord. After you're done, I'm going to have you sign my books. It's acting.
Okay.
I didn't know they were acting up.
Yeah. Oh, they were.
Listen, they probably like, that's my baby.
Right, no, they are banned.
Just like a black parent. Just like a black mama and daddy.
They
I
were
saw them
proud,
riding
okay?
on the cart with you.
Huh?
Weren't they riding on the cart with you at Essence?
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So they
Oh,
were
he's
riding
gonna
the cart
adjust something.
with
Make sure that you.
I'm
Yeah, come
cracking
close to
up.
the mic. Come close to the mic. You gotta talk to us.
Yeah.
Hey, girl. Hey, I'm Nikisha. Nice to meet you.
Like real hard. Like
I
we
run-
know each other from somewhere.
You do look familiar to
I
me.
know.
But you from Maryland, like for real?
Yeah.
See, I'm from Chicago, so I'm like,
Oh,
I don't know. Like, you just look like somebody I know.
You do.
We all got that face. We all got them cousins.
All right, so Lakita, welcome to the Black Books Matter Fest, Mahogany Books Podcast Network. Your new book, Pretty Girl County. Tell us all about it.
Okay, so Pretty Girl County is basically about the haves and the have-nots of Prince George's County. So it's all about growing up in the wealthiest Black county in America, but you don't have that kind of money. And so, like, what do you do? What do you do to like put yourself in a better position in life? And then what happens when you do get to that better position? Do you remain the same person that you are on the inside?
So you're from here.
Oh yeah.
So tell us about what really drew you to write about PG County.
Well, so I wrote a romance 1st, and I mean this has romance elements in it as well. But when it came time for the second book, my publisher, they were like, "Hey, what do you think about a Parent Trap reboot?" And I was like, I mean, I love the Parent Trap.
Yeah.
Like, I have been through two versions of the Parent Trap. But I think I want to write about PG County because I'm like, we're just sitting in this room, and I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm from like this very special place that I didn't even understand was so special until I started getting out and seeing the world. And I was like, whoa, where's the Black people? Because like here, everywhere. I mean, just look at this festival today. It is nothing but Black people everywhere, everywhere you look. But like, I've had that experience my entire life. So to be able to like share that and what's that like, to see like people that you might aspire to be, but also see people who may be taking a different path, and there's sort of like a warning sign for you. You get to see it all here, and I love it. And I want to share that with the world.
What does it mean to you to be able to share stories of your home, stories from your own experiences and your background, and share that with the world and really shine a light on where you're from and who you're from?
I think if you don't have enough representation, you start seeking it in the books that you are reading. And to me, it would be a tragedy if somebody picked up a book and they went, I want blonde hair and blue eyes because that's all I'm seeing in the book. And this is the mainstream aesthetic here. And so I want bookshelves flooded with Black beauty, Black intelligence, Black charisma, so that there's so many different types of books, like not even in just like contemporary fiction or a rom-com, but in speculative fiction and horror. Like, I want you to have an example so that when you decide what you want to read, there is somebody for you in that book.
Yeah. And there's also something beautiful about Blackness obviously not being a monolith. And you touch on that in the book. There's dual timeline. You're dealing with class, race, everything we're talking about being in PG County. Can you talk about that a little bit, about why you felt it was important to tell two different stories of PG County?
I was on Twitter like in 2017, and like people were like, Black is not a monolith. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, because that had never
me to think that like that all Black people are alike. I see it every day. I'm immersed in all the different ways to be Black, even within myself. And so I thought that it was important to show two different versions. Like, you know, one person has all the money and everything, and one person doesn't. But within those two people, you also see a lot of similarities. So it doesn't mean that like, oh, just because you have money, you're going to be this, or just because you don't, then you're, you know, stuck over here in this box. Like, there are similarities to find in all of the people that we meet, but also everybody brings something very unique to the table, and it's something special about just being in community with that.
I love that.
And so, talking about Blackness is not a monolith, you shining a light on how different Black people are and live and where they work and what they do.
Yeah.
What have been some of the books that you've read that have inspired you, old or new?
Well, you guys just had my hometown hero on here like a couple of people ago, but like everything when Jason Reynolds wrote that track series, I was because that was around the time that I was like going to school for writing, and I kept hearing Jason Reynolds, and I was like, what's going on with this Jason Reynolds? Like, let me see. And when I opened that book, he sounded like the boys I could hear him talk all day long. One, he says really great things out of his mouth, but like two, he's from home. I hear him. I hear the boys that I grew up with. When I read the books, I see characters or students that I grew up with, teenagers that I grew up with, you know, kids that I grew up with. So there's something special in that. So I always look at how like authentic he was with the speaking, and I realize that there's something very special about bringing your own voice to the table, because especially when you go into like a writing program, sometimes they'll be like, well, you should write like this, or that's a little let's make it a little more highbrow, and I'm like, this is highbrow. This is the way I
know that's
this
right.
is the way, you know, like,
Yeah, I do.
You know, there is value in the way that I speak and in my voice, and so that's why when sometimes people assume that like Black voices are a trend or something like that, and then they'll go and try to like write a Black character, but they're not Black. I'm like, I want to hear your voice because you actually have something that I want to see that's not like me. So don't try to like go and imitate something that somebody else can do. Like, go and write in your voice and I'll write in mine.
Right. Amen.
So,
amen. And pass the biscuits.
and get her a book deal.
And give her marketing money. Period. Sorry.
But not sorry.
But not sorry. Okay, I know you're on a run right now with Pretty Girl County, but are you working on anything else right now?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Period.
Actually,
Can you
I
tell
was
us?
like, I am taking a break from drafting this to come here today. So, okay, I am working on.
You on deadline.
I'm working on 2 adult projects. So, like, one is like a hope. Okay, this is just like a dream.
Okay.
I want to take these kids to college, and I want Bowie State is my that's like my muse. So like, I would love to see some kids in college, give them a little drama, give them a little act. But also I'm writing women's fiction. Like, I'm writing a particular story that I think needs to be told. A lot of my friends are struggling with dating right now, and they're like,
I heard the pool got pee in it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Mic, y'all.
It's fine.
So the title that nobody's gonna let me title it, like, who peed in my dating pool, was like, okay.
I think they should. I think people will buy it.
Yes.
Honestly,
I would buy it.
How many times
have we said it?
Yes.
There's pee in the dating pool.
There's a reason for that. So like, I wanna continue to write about contemporary Black women, whether they are teenagers, children, or full-grown adults. I want to tell their story because I feel like I have been living it, and here we go. Yeah.
So where can the people find you?
Lakita Writes and Lakita Reads on Instagram and Threads, and like sometimes I'm on TikTok, but mainly Instagram and Threads.
All right. Well, thank you for coming by. We're talking
Thank
about
you.
Pretty Girl County and what you've got coming up next. And we hope you enjoyed the Black Books
Thank
Manifest.
you. This is amazing.
You already know. And I gotta get my book signed. Don't you worry. Hold on, let me get my little book. Sharpie behind you. I'll put you to work. I'll put you to work. Thank you. Thank you, girl.
Oh, you got the one. I think you got the one that was
And James Baldwin books. Frank, oh, I'm gonna personalize that for me.
yes.
I was like, wait a minute.
That is.
It was at James Baldwin's book.
Yes.
When we missed you. And I was like, how did I just miss you?
Okay. Talia was like, they got your book at the store. I was like, they do, right? Yeah, they do. The galleys go on the table. You saw Nikki? Yeah, I did. Okay.
Nikki.
What I was about to say was they weren't there, but I don't know if they were already picked up. So I was just curious. That's fine. I'm just saying.
Yeah. You did a good job. Right. Thank you, boo.
You're welcome. I can't believe you got
Listen.
the New Orleans copy.
The New Orleans bust down.
Okay.
All right. Yes, we are back with Derek Young, co-owner of Mahogany Books for the set. And with us, did you organize, ideate the Black Books Manifest? How did this come into being for the second year in a row?
So this is a longtime dream of my wife, my co-owner, Ramonda Young. When we first started talking about building out a bookstore, one of the things that she wanted to do was to have a festival. Because our focus has always been about community. And the thing you guys know, book readers, we love to nerd out over books.
We do.
We love to argue. We love to agree. We just love to be together and talk about books. So this has been something that we wanted to do for a very long time. We did last year was the very first one, the very first Black Books Matter Fest. This is year number 2. We went bigger. We went better. We doubled the size of it. We added panels to it. Kennedy Ryan, Victoria Christopher Murray, Dolan Perkins Valdez. We added this live stream component because one, we want to take ownership of our books. We don't want anyone creating space for us. We can do that for our own selves. And then number 2, well, I'll also say all these incredible independent authors out here, right? Like that is something that, we take a lot of pride in being a platform for authors who are published through the Big Five, but also authors who are published independently. So this has been something that we really, really enjoy doing. Next year, we're going to figure out how to triple it.
I know that's right.
I'm going to have more gray hair after that. But it's a joy because at the end of the day, I mean, this is just like joy, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Black folk hanging out, talking about books, meeting people they had never met before.
Yeah.
Like this is what we do it for.
And so we're both on the Mahogany Podcast Network. What was the start, the impetus? Like, why did you want to bring that here?
So, y'all making me feel old now. So 18 years ago, right? Like, it feels like almost last century. But when we first came up with the idea of Mahogany Books, it was like right after the .com boom. So we were always thinking like, how do we create a bookstore, but for the next generation? Thinking about technology, thinking about, again, building community, not just where we are in the DMV area, but across the country, right? My wife is from Tulsa, Oklahoma. She grew up down the street from Black Wall Street. Never knew it existed.
Wow.
Right? I remember my first time visiting her family, and I'm like, yo, where the Black bookstore is at? I'm from DC.
Right.
Like, that's all we do is Black bookstores. But there wasn't one in our area. So it became a part of the conversation. Well, how do we connect people outside of our area to Black books? So we started online with the website. We turned that into the bookstore. And then the next step for that was with the advent of podcasts and how we can now connect with each other in these micro niches is how do we tell our own story on our own network? And again, not asking for space from anybody else, but doing it on our own with talent that's already out there telling these stories that have a following and people enjoy the conversations. Like, it's just some do it. Just get out, figure it out, and make it happen.
So
So what does it mean to you to see all these people come out and to support the store, the authors, something that you all literally dreamed up together?
So like most days I'm so busy, doing payroll and taking Celsius to the store and
Yes.
just doing the everyday business of running the store. Like I don't really think about it. So I try to take we try to take intentional time away and really think about what it is that we're doing. Because honestly, this is my passion. Like when I graduated from school, this is what I wanted to do. I worked 15 years with a full-time job and trying to figure out how to build this in my spare time after that. So now that we're here, like we really do try to make sure we take time out to, and want to be gracious and appreciate everyone that shows up and support us, but also just take time and say, hey, we're living the dream. I work with my wife, right? I'm able to put my kid through college, and I'm around books. Like I get to be a nerd all the time talking about comic books, and I just read S.A. Cosby book this week.
King of Ashes.
Oh my God!
Listen, Roman and me gonna square up.
Look, that dude is
at
so
midnight.
sociopath. I'm saying, so see, this is the thing, right?
Like I want to fight that man.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to do that. He little.
Nah,
he
I think I can win. I'm from Baltimore. I think I can win. I think
he got Khalil on the side.
he do.
So,
He do.
So yeah, so it is. It's we do try to take time out to just be appreciative of the moment and to just consider all that what this moment is. This is, I don't know if PG County has ever done this before.
I don't think so.
Right? Like this is put together by Black business owners focusing on Black readers, Black independent authors, Black content creators, like Black vendors. Like this is what it's about.
A good Black time. So,
amen.
We have Black Books Matter on the shirt. We have it everywhere. It's the slogan. It's everything. But what does Black Books Matter mean to you?
So when we came up with this concept, like honestly, it was right after the Trayvon Martin murder, right? And I just remember reading all these articles and having people tell our story about what that moment meant and what was going on, and it drove me absolutely mad. And that's when, like, just like a spark of like just whatever. I wrote a blog post and maybe it was a Twitter thing, but I put something out and I was saying in response to an article that I just read, like, this is why Black books matter, because we have to control our own narrative. People keep putting out into space who we are, what we think, what we care about, what our values are, what our history and heritage is. Like, y'all don't got nothing to do with this. You know what I'm saying? We need to control our own narrative because we know who we are.
Yep.
Right? And we're the ones that can be authentic and honest about the good and the bad. So when we talk about Black Books Matter, it is literally about us taking control of our narrative, of our history, of our heritage, not putting it in anyone's hands. No more white gaze, no more who opens the door for us. This is what we do.
So our own sky full of elephants.
Yeah. Ooh, that's another one.
Another one.
I'm going to get this book as soon as we wrap.
Listen,
oh my God.
Because this is the 5th time she's heard it.
Yes.
While we've been
like the
sitting here.
8th. Like,
yeah, probably the 8th.
Like,
yeah.
Every person has talked about this book. I saw it and I was like, I'm going to get it right now.
That is, in the last year, the most impactful books I've read in the last year is Sibo Campbell's Sky Full of Elephants. Why am I blanking on his name now? James. Was it Percival Everett?
Percival Everett, yes.
Percival Everett James. And then S.A. Cosby, King of Ashes. And that book, you think it's just an action thriller, but I'm like, I think this might be a literary book. Like the way he writes, specifically like Black men as whole, complete, complicated individuals with the good and the bad, right?
In the gray.
Yeah, all the gray. And they're being driven for love, they're being driven to protect family, and sometimes you make bad decisions. But it's so those are the 3 books in the last year that I'm telling you, everyone just needs to read.
Yes. So Sky Full of Elephants.
I'm going to get it. What time is it? It is 2:04. We are past time. Thank you for joining us on the Black Books Matter Fest. I'm going to go in the store and get Sky Full of Elephants and a whole bunch of other things.
And you also have your own podcast. Can you talk on the network? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So the Reader of Black Genius podcast is me talking to people that I admire, whether they're writers, readers, business folk, activists, artists, whoever they are, and talking to them about the 3 to 5 books, Black books, that most impacted their journey. And the thing that I've noticed is it's a wide variety of books, but words really matter, right? And
words
the
matter.
books that people are reading at young ages, whether they're in college, whether it's poetry or music, there's been some words written by somebody that has sparked the genius of these people that I'm interviewing. And I love memoirs. I love learning from people. And it's just a great way for me to talk to people that I love, that I admire, but then also find out what are the books that inspired them. Because maybe it can help inspire me or inspire the people that listen to the podcast.
I love that.
So then how do you see everything that you've done so far with the bookstore, with the podcast network, with the festival? What is next for you and your co-conspirator, your wife Ramunda? How do you plan to try to top yourself, or is it just like what's next?
Yeah. So we have a big announcement coming up after the festival. We didn't want to oversaturate the market, so we got something happening soon that's going to be a really big deal that I'm excited.
You could just tell us after.
Yeah.
We're gonna cut this off. We're gonna get the tea.
We'll get the tea.
And then, we have some crazy ideas. I got some thoughts, some things that I want to do that just really it focuses in on again, us telling our story and doing it in a whole complete way, right? Like there are books on grief that aren't written from a Black perspective. Right, there are books dealing with men and their mental health and emotional health. They need to be. So we have some ideas that we want to work on to help try to get those type of things into.
Well, we will be here in support.
Yes, we love that. Where can everybody find us?
So Mahogany Books is everything. So to go to the website to buy books, mahoganybooks.com. Instagram, it's Mahogany Books there. But for the podcast, and folks, please. Like, review, rate, but go to mahoganybooksmedia.com. You can find all of the podcasts there. We got some great podcasts here, some great content creators, Black and published, but making books. You can always download them there. You can also go to Spotify, Apple,
podcast. Everywhere you get your podcast.
Everywhere. YouTube.
We're on all the aggregators, so you can always find us there. And then we're always posting it onto the Instagram, which is Mahogany Books Podcast Media Network. Mahogany Books Podcast Network on Instagram. Mahogany Books Podcast Network.
Well, we know you're running around, so thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Cozy corner.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
all.
And that'll do it for us at the Black Books Matter Fest.
Get Sky Full of
I'm going to get Sky Full of Elephants right now.
Yes, that's exactly what she's going to do. Thank you guys. And always, always, always go ahead and rate and subscribe and review us, because the only way we can grow and reach everybody is by you.
Through you. Black and published, but making books. I'm Nikisha Elise Williams.
I'm Nakara Campbell.
And thank you. We'll see you next time.
Bye, y'all. Peace.